Democrats are some of the nicest people in the world. Doug, what? What happened to your channel? No, let me finish. They're the nicest people in the world that will just get everybody killed and ruin everything. Welcome to Doug in Exile. I'm Doug TenNapel, and we're going to go into this fiasco that's happening from immigrants being put into Chicago and New York.
I wanted to know if there is a capacity limit, and what is that limit, if there is one, and why can't we close the borders of Chicago or the state of Illinois in the first place? Why can't we close the borders?
Yeah, let's get those borders closed into Chicago. So these are the Democrats. These are minority Democrats, and they're all like, yeah, it's racist to stop illegals at the border. And then now that they're getting them bust up there from Greg Abbott down in Texas, they just all became racist. They're all going like, stop these illegals from getting in this town.
I don't know if there's a limit.
There is not a limit.
I do know that when you are seeking asylum, you are granted protections from the U.S. to not return. So that is the process that folks are going through when they come here, when they get their interview, and then the Texas governor sends them to Illinois, and specifically Chicago.
So they get to come, once they do an interview in Texas, they get to come regardless. Texas says, you're an asylum seeker, you're being persecuted, so yeah, you can leave your country and come here and go wherever you want.
Not Texas. The federal government is the one that does the process around asylum seeking.
Yeah, not Abbott. That's a Biden thing whom you voted for. She's all, what in the H did we vote for? Yeah, you did this. You did this. All of y'all did this to yourself. And as Jeremiah Wright used to say in Obama's church, the chickens are coming home to roost.
It is Texas who is making the decision to send them to Chicago.
And that's what I wanted to know. Can we say, no, we won't take anymore?
It has to come from the federal government.
It won't come from the federal government because your town is an asylum seekers paradise that they can't prosecute immigrants and call them illegal. Whereas in Texas, you can. And that's why Abbott's allowed to put them in a bus and send them to Chicago and New York. Remember, we thought this lady was the problem, the green cowboy. There's Lori Lightfoot. Yeehaw, howdy everybody. And everyone said, we're getting rid of her. That'll solve the problem. No, you got rid of Smeagol, and now you are still in trouble. Every major city in America that's run by Democrats is going through the same thing, especially the sanctuary cities. But that's San Francisco. This is going to happen to LA. This is Detroit. This is New York. Here's Eric Adams.
President Biden is coming to the city. I am hoping that he understands.
First thing he said is, I hope Joe Biden understands. Good luck. He hasn't been conscious for 2 years.
This beautiful city that's the economic engine of the entire country is being saddled with a $2 billion that we spent already, $5 billion. We're going to spend in this fiscal crisis, $12 billion in the next 2 budgetary cycles. New York don't deserve this.
Yes, New York does deserve it. Why? Here's my man, Benny Johnson, New York, a place that voted for Joe Biden 80% over Donald Trump, is getting exactly what they voted for. Excuse me. You guys did this to yourself. The entire city is overrun by so many criminal and illegal migrants that now their voting power is reduced. All their public services have been pushed to the absolute max. And even pro-sanctuary city Mayor Eric Adams says New York is destroyed. Lovely town you got there. Used to be a neat place. It will collapse in ruin. This is what happens to towns. Remember, this is your brain on drugs. Well, this is your town on Democrats. New York City is done for because of criminal migration. They got what they voted for. Don't ask me to shed a single, I do still shed a tear, even for stupid people. It makes me still sad to see them suffer. Here's more Eric Adams. This gets worse.
The asylum seekers don't deserve this. And so while he's here, I think that they should really reflect on New York City has done its part.
Oh, New York City has not done enough yet. He says they've done their part. This is like long after you're done with your sin isn't done with you. The Democrat policies are not done with you yet, Eric Adams. New York is going to be quite a dump when this wreck comes to fruition.
We know we need an emergency declaration. We need
an emergency declaration. He'll say anything but they need to build a wall at the border, because that's racist. Build a wall at the border, Eric.
To be properly funded, we need a decompression strategy, not only in the city, but throughout the state.
Oh, we need a funding and a statewide decompression strategy, but not a wall.
This is just wrong, what we're doing to New York City residents and what we're doing to the migrant asylum seekers.
Okay, I love this twofold thing because these are both true. It is wrong what they're doing to New York, even though New York still voted for it. And it is wrong what they're doing to the asylum seekers, to the actual illegals coming over here. Both are being wronged in this, but they're both following Democrat policies. Democrat policies, because these things are incongruent with each other, they clash together and they end up destroying people. That is the very best implementation of their policy, is it destroys people. I believe he's well-intended. You still hurt people.
We have to put 116,000 people that are coming 10,000 a month. We have to put it somewhere. So if the lawmakers are going to say, Eric, we don't want it in our Floyd Bennett fields, which is away from homes, which is away from communities, away from schools. If they don't want it there, then they can't get upset when it goes inside their neighborhood and block. We're trying to be as least intrusive as possible.
These are all the people that love throwing around the word racist. Remember, Trump is racist and all these white supremacy is the biggest problem in America. And here they are, when brown people come to their field or their neighborhood, they go, no, do not put those people in my people's yard. Get those stinky, dirty brown people, put them over there. Oh no, not my neighborhood. This is what's weird. I know a lot of white Christians that go into inner city neighborhoods and help minorities, and they don't treat them that way. They're like, come to me, let us serve you, let us help you. New Yorkers, liberals, they go, get your stinky, dirty people out of my neighborhood. It's revealing.
I mean, if that is not an indictment on our society, how far we've gone from who we should be. We had fentanyl in a daycare center.
I believe you're a nice man. You still hurt innocent people, even babies.
That for those children we could have lost, but we had to use Narcan. 3 of them, thank God, it saved their lives.
It never occurs to poor Eric, tiny-brained Democrat, little dumb guy. How did fentanyl get in your country? It's in your daycare. And I think we can start to connect the dots on how this all happened. It never occurs to him, build a wall to keep fentanyl from coming in. Made in China, run through our southern border. Now it's in New York, in a daycare. And Eric Adams, well-meaning, kind-hearted, is sitting there looking at 4 babies who took fentanyl and goes, how did this happen? That's because those nice Democrats that called Trump a bigot, and when Biden says white supremacy is the biggest problem in our culture, you voted for it, and you guys still are covering for what's happening at the southern border. You're still blowing it every day. This is your town on Democrats.
I have to get out that truck, go into that hospital, sit in the room and tell their parents that some adult left fentanyl that put their babies through that.
Yes, you have to tell those parents. You have to do it. Every American has to do it. Every American has to look in the mirror and say, what did I do? I didn't vote for these people and I voted wrong.
We've just become so screwed up as a society. You know, we got to get our acts together. We are destroying our children and we need to stop.
He looked in the mirror and he saw it. We are destroying our children. Well said, sir. And I agree with you. We We are destroying this society. Let's keep going, because now Eric Adams has a financial crisis in that he can't afford to even house those asylum seekers called illegals.
Mary, you know, it's no longer just about budget cuts.
Why does she sound like she smoked a pack a day for 30 years?
What we've learned is that the mayor, because the city budget crisis and the city asylum crisis is so intense, the mayor is now considering new limits on the amount of time that asylum seekers can actually stay in city shelters.
She sounds like Frank Sinatra. New York lady doing the news over there. What do we want? Budget justice. When do we want it? Now.
To protest budget cuts of up to 15% that Mayor Adams says are necessary to pay for sheltering the tens of thousands of migrants who have arrived here.
These budget cuts will have a devastating impact, not only on city services, but on the real lives of New Yorkers. And as we welcome and continue to welcome immigrants into this city,
Oh, yeah.
we must make sure that we can serve them.
We have to welcome. Never think that might be part of the problem. Like, look, we're getting overstretched. These immigrants are a problem, but welcome. Here are the programs that are threatened to being cut and defunded.
It will mean a $2.1 billion cut to the education budget, $1.4 billion in cuts to the Department of Social Services, an $800 million cut to the Department of Homeless Services, $300 million from the fire department, and $200 million from city hospitals.
They have to cut the fire department, education, hospitals. What could possibly go wrong? You guys voted for Biden. This is Democrat. Let's go back to 2020. Let's go back to the streets of New York as they're celebrating Biden's incredible anti-racist, anti-white supremacy victory. Because now that they've defeated evil Trump, right? Now all of the Hispanics and all of the brown illegal immigrants are going to come, and it's going to be a blessing, and they're going to flourish here in New York now that they solved the problem.
No matter where you were in New York City today, claps and sounds of celebration could be heard. From the moment Joe Biden was elected the 46th president of the United States.
We gotta get this man out of office. I'm happy because I'm pretty sure there's gonna be a lot of change, and I hope what he says he's gonna do, he's really gonna do.
Kamala Harris, now also the first female vice president. Her parents are Jamaican and Indian immigrants.
We have just dumped Donald Trump, and your days are numbered. As we have now made history 3 times in one at the same time. A woman, a black woman, an Indian woman.
Now that we have a woman, a black woman, an Indian woman, it's solved. Problem. You got the important. This is a meritocracy now.
Over 1,000 people who have been wanting change since President Trump took office gathered at Columbus Circle, dancing and cheering. They then marched to Madison Square Park.
It feels great.
Feels so great. We're going to end here on the New York Post. Tell the truth, Eric Adams. Most of them did not come from Greg Abbott. It's Biden's fault. Thank you guys for joining me. I hope you guys will subscribe if you like this kind of in-depth content. We still keep it shallow. We still have fun with a lot of entertainment and stuff too. If you subscribe and like and leave a comment, I'll get the hint. I'm Doug in Exile.